Hi there, grade 5 pupils. Welcome back again to another video lesson. So we are now on the 8th week of our video lesson for grade 5 mathematics quarter 1. So previously, we have discussed solving word problems involving multiplication of fractions as well as multiplying fraction by its reciprocal. So for this video lesson, we'll now proceed to the last operation on fractions, which is division of fractions. So again, just like what I have mentioned, so if we had visualized multiplication of fractions, we will be also visualizing division of fractions. So di ba, ginamit natin yung mga models, yung mga rectangles, and then other figures para i-visualize, illustrate yung multiplication of fractions. So, ganun pa rin naman po ang gagamitin natin dito. Mga figures pa rin po. So, let's start. So, at the end of this video lesson, you are expected to visualize division of fractions. So, yun lang po yung ating lesson objective for this video lesson. So, kailangan lang po natin is makinig ng mabuti kung paano yung mga process ng tamang pag-visualize ng division of fractions. Kasi sa susunod na video lesson, ang i-discuss naman natin is yung mismong process ng pag-divide ng fractions. So, yung una nating i-discuss is dividing a whole number by a fraction. So, whole number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Fraction, it may be proper, improper, or even mixed fractions or tinatawag nating mixed numbers. So let us have the first example. What is the quotient of 5 and 1/4? By the way, quotient, this is the result when two numbers are being divided. So when a dividend is divided by a divisor. So in this case, 5 is our dividend. Okay, yung nasa loob. So for example, 20 divided by 4. So kapag sinulat natin siya dun sa long division method, magiging ganito. Yung 20, yun ang nasa loob, and then yung 4, yung nasa labas. So yung number na nasa loob is what we call the dividend, yung 20. And then yung 4, yung nasa labas. Let us represent the dividend 5 by 5 circles. So since the dividend is 5, so gagamit po tayo ng 5 bilog. So 5 circles, ito po yan. And then, the divisor is 1/4. So we divide each circle into 4 parts. So since nirepresent natin yung 5 circles as dividend, yun naman pong ating divisor na 1/4, ang gagawin lang po natin is hahatiin po natin yung 5 circles into 4 equal parts each. So as you can see, ayan, yung isang circle, ito, yung first circle natin, ayan, yung chinek ko. So hinati po natin yan into 4 equal parts. So equal po dapat ang ating pagkakahati. So kung paano natin hinati yung first circle, ganun din po sa second, third, fourth, and fifth circle. So next, so after nating i-divide yung circles, 5 circles into 4 equal parts each. So next naman is group them by 1 based on the numerator of the divisor. So bakit ginugroup natin into 1? So individually. So dahil base po yun sa numerator ng divisor. So yung divisor po natin is 1/4, and then yung 1, yun po ang nagsisilbing numerator. So kung i-group natin sila into 1, so bibilangin natin ilan groups meron. So, start tayo dito sa first circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay. So, dahil hindi naman talaga sila nakagroup kasi individually sila, 1 lang. So, as you can see, yung bilang ng group na meron tayo is 20. That is why the quotient of 5 and 1/4 is 20. So, ayan po. Yung ating sagot dito sa ating first example is 20. So next example, number 2. What is the quotient of 4 and 2/5? Okay. Let us represent the dividend 4 by 4 rectangles. So for this example, so we'll be using rectangles instead of circles. So ayan po yung ating dividend represented by 4 rectangles. Ayan po. Next, the divisor is 2/5. So we divide each rectangle into 5 parts. Okay, so bawat rectangle, i-divide po natin yan into 5 equal parts. So yung pagkakahati po ng mga rectangles, based po yan dun sa denominator ng divisor. So yung divisor natin, 2/5, yung numerator niya is 2, and then 5 is divisor. So since 5, divided into 5 equal parts. So lahat po ng rectangles na yan, pantay-pantay po ang pagkakahati. Next, group them by 2s based on the numerator of the divisor. So kanina, group them by 1. Okay. Ngayon, dahil more than 1 na, paano natin ipapakita yung groupings? So ayan. Gamit tayo ulit ng number. So ito, 1, 1. So yan, nakagroup sila by 2. So yan. Next, 2, 2. 3, 3. Okay. 4, 4. 5, 5. 6, 6. 7, 7. 8, 8. 9, 9. And then 10, 10. Upon grouping them by 2s, ang nakuha nating sagot is 10. So we have 10 groups. Therefore, the quotient of 4 and 2/5 is 10. Okay, kasi you can see, kitang-kita nyo naman, 10 groups po ang meron tayo. So next discussion will be dividing a fraction by a whole number. So yung first discussion po natin kanina is yung pag-divide ng whole number by a fraction. So ngayon naman, fraction by a whole number. Let's have example number 1. So what is the quotient of 3/4 and 2? So 3/4, ito po ang magsisilbing dividend. And then yung 2, ito naman po ang magsisilbing divisor. So let us represent the dividend 3/4 using the rectangle below. So ito po yung ating rectangle. As you can see, the given rectangle is divided into 4 equal parts. Kasi yung denominator ng ating dividend ng 3/4 is 4. Kaya 4 equal parts po siya. And then, yung shaded part po natin dyan, yung naka-yellow, is 3 because of the numerator 3. Okay. Next, divide the rectangle horizontally by the divisor 2. So, after nating i-represent yung 3/4 using rectangle, ayan, yung shaded portion niya, i-divide naman ngayon natin yung rectangle horizontally. Ibig sabihin ng horizontally, pahiga. Okay. By the divisor 2. So, yung divisor natin is 2. Kaya hati natin po sa 2. So, ayan. So, yung rectangle natin sa first figure, hinati po natin sa gitna. Again, equal pa rin po dapat ang ating pagkakahati. So, ayan. Next, box either the first or second row. So, yung second figure natin kanina, ito yon. So, yung next step natin, i-box down natin kahit alin man dun sa una o kaya naman pangalawang row. So, ito yung row 1. Ito naman ang row 2. So, row 1, row 2. So, kahit alin dyan ang i-shade natin. So, i-box natin ito, yung first row. Ayan, nakikita nyo po sa ating screen yung naka-red, yung naka-bilog. 4 yung kanyang binilugan. Yun po yung row 1. Count the number of shaded parts of the row we boxed. Okay, so next step naman po natin, count the number of shaded parts of the row we boxed. Okay, so yung binox po natin kanina, yung first row, bilangin daw po natin yung shaded part. So, ilan ba ang shaded part dyan? We have 1, 2, and then 3. So, tatlo lang po. Yung fourth box po natin, hindi naman po siya shaded. Kitang-kita nyo naman na kulay white. Finally, count the total number of parts. Ayan. So, after nating i-count yung number of shaded parts dun sa row na binox natin, i-count naman ngayon natin yung number of parts. Ayan. Makikita nyo sa screen, binilang natin yung mga boxes. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So, yung sagot po natin dun sa 3/4 divided by 2, o yung quotient ng 3/4 and 2 is 3/8. So, dun po sa shaded part po natin kanina, dun sa count the number of shaded parts of the row we box, tatlo lang po, diba yon? And then, sa final step po natin, binilang natin yung total number of parts, yung total number of boxes, which is 8. Kaya po, ang sagot po natin is 3/8. Another example, what is the quotient of 1/5 in 3? Let us represent the dividend 1/5 using the rectangle below. So, this time, our dividend is 1/5. Using rectangle pa rin. So, ayan. Yung ating rectangle is divided into 5 equal parts. Dahil nga, yung denominator ng dividend natin na 1/5, ayan, is 5. Kaya, dinivide into 5 equal parts. And then, why is it 1 lang po ang shaded part niya? It's because of the numerator 1. Next, divide the rectangle horizontally by the divisor 3. So, just like the previous example, ganun pa rin dito. Kaya lang, ang pag-divide po natin doon sa rectangle horizontally is based po doon sa divisor. On the previous example, our divisor is 2. That is why we divided the rectangle into 2 equal parts. So, dito naman, divisor is 3. So, we have to divide the rectangle into 3 equal parts. And ito po siya. Ayan. Hinati po natin siya horizontally into 3 equal parts. So, you can see, nakahati po yan, pantay-pantay. Next, box either the first, second, or third row. So, ayan. Alin man dyan ang gusto nating i-box, first, second, or third row. Okay, so kanina first and second row lang kasi divisor niya is 2. Ngayon, divisor niya is 3. Kaya 3 po yan, hanggang third row. So, ibabox natin yung first row na lang. So, second row ang binox nyo, wala namang kaso. Next, count the number of shaded parts of the row we boxed. Ayan. Ito yung ating binox. Ilan po yung shaded portion natin? Shaded part. We only have 1. Ayan lang po. Isa. Yung kasunod niya, unshaded po. Next, count the total number of parts. So, kung bibilangin po natin yung mga parts, yung mga boxes na yan, we have 15. So, magsimula tayo sa 1 hanggang 15. Sulatan lang po natin yan. Pwede rin naman po nating hindi sulatan kung alam po nating bilangin. Now, to answer the question, what is the quotient of 1/3 and 5? So, 1/3 divided by 5, the answer is 1/15. So, why is it 1/15? So, yung shaded part natin kanina na binox, isa lang po yung shaded part niya. Yung row na binox natin kanina, isa lang. And then, counting the total number of parts, we have 15. That is why 1/15 po ang ating final answer. Next, what about dividing a fraction by a fraction? So, ngayon naman, fraction by a fraction. So, let's have example number 1. So, what is the quotient of 3/5 and 1/2? So, ayan, parehong fraction na po yan. Wala na po tayong nakikitang whole number. Let us represent the dividend 3/5 using the rectangle below. So, again, yung dividend po natin dito is yung 3/5. Usually, dividend po natin, nauna po siyang binabanggit or nakasulat. And then 1/2 is our divisor. So, ayan, 3/5. Represented siya using a rectangle. Tatlo yung shaded part and then divided siya into 5 equal parts. Identify the denominator, the divisor, and divide the rectangle horizontally by 8. So, identify the denominator of the divisor. So, yung divisor po natin is 1/2. And then, yung denominator nun is 2. That is why, hinati po natin into 2. Okay. So, again, yung divisor po natin is divisor is 1/2. And then, we are asked to identify the denominator. So, the denominator is 2. Kaya, dinivide natin yung rectangle horizontally by 2. Next, to get the numerator, simply count the number of shaded parts of the rectangle. So, bibilangin lang po natin yung shaded parts ng rectangle. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yan po yung mga shaded parts. So, shaded portion ng ating rectangle. Next, box the number of rows as indicated by the numerator in the divisor. So, i-box down natin yung number of rows as indicated by the numerator in the divisor. So, dito po, yung ating numerator is 1. So, again, yung ating divisor is 1. 1/2. And then, dito naman tinitignan natin dito is yung numerator. Okay. So, numerator natin is 1. That is why, ayan, binox po natin is isa lang po. So, finally, to get the denominator, simply count the total number of parts inside the box. Ayan. So, yung ating binilugan po, bibilangin lang po natin yung box or parts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what is the quotient of 3/5 and 1/2? So, 3/5 divided by 1/2, that is equal to, kinakuha natin kanina ng numerator which is 6, and then, yung nakuha nating denominator ngayon na 5. Okay, so again, yung 6 nakuha po natin yung total number of shaded parts ng ating rectangle. Kitang-kita nyo naman, 6 po. So, this will be our final answer. So, para mas maliwanagan po kayo dyan sa dividing a fraction and by a fraction, let us have the next example. So, what is the quotient of 4/9 and 2/3? So, again, we will represent the dividend using a rectangle. So, let us represent the dividend 4/9 or 4/9 using the rectangle below. So, the rectangle is divided into 9 equal parts, and then yung shaded part niya, shaded portion is 4. Ayan, yung 4 na yellow. Next, identify the denominator of the divisor and divide the rectangle horizontally by 8. So, yung divisor po natin dito is 2/3. And then, we are asked to, again, identify the denominator of that divisor. So, yung denominator po ng divisor natin is 3. That is why, we divide a rectangle horizontally by 3. Kitang-kita nyo naman po, nakahati po sa tatlo. Okay, tatlong rows. Next step, to get the numerator, simply count the number of shaded parts of the rectangle. So, ayan, bibilangin lang po natin yung shaded parts, shaded portion ng rectangle, yung naka-yellow. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, yung shaded part po natin is 12. That is why our numerator is 12. So, yung hinahanap na lang natin yan is yung denominator. So, box the number of rows as indicated by the numerator in the divisor. So, yung divisor na naman po ang ating kukunin. So, divisor is 2/3. This time, ito naman pong numerator yung ating kinakailangan. Okay, so yung numerator po ng divisor natin is 2. So, bibilugan po natin dalawang rows. Okay, so ayan, kitang-kita nyo naman po, binilugan. Then finally, to get the denominator, simply count the total number of parts inside the box. So yung binox po natin kanina, ayan, so bibilangin lang po natin yung boxes. So regardless po, di po natin tinitignan kung shaded ba or hindi. So kailangan lang po nating bilangin sila. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So, what is the quotient of 4/9 and 2/3? So, yung nakuha po nating numerator kanina is 12. And then, ngayon naman, yung denominator natin is 18. So, our answer is 12 over 18. So, 12 over 18 can be simplified as 2/3. So, paano naging 2/3? Divide po natin both numerator and denominator by 6. So, our final answer should be 2/3. So, I hope naintindihan nyo yung process natin. The dividing a whole number by a fraction, fraction by a whole number, and yung kakadiscuss lang natin is yung fraction by a fraction. So, ganyan po kung paano natin binivisualize yung division of fractions. So, for the next video lesson, we will be dividing fractions. So, yung topic po natin is division of fractions. So, I hope may natutunan kayo dito sa ating video lesson. So, yun lang. Maraming salamat.